Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe channel. We are your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for animation.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator. And today, someone had commissioned me to draw their avatar for their YouTube channel. But before we get started, make sure to smash the like button.
Over there. Let's get into it. All right, so tell me about this one.
Someone had commissioned me to draw her boyfriend's YouTube avatar.
Oh, that's so nice.
He does video game streams, and he has this little pixel character of him.
Yeah, if you want to check him out, here's his YouTube right here.
Yeah. So she wanted to gift him something because he had just started his YouTube channel and he was getting really into it.
Nice.
And she wanted to do something nice for him.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. The little pixel character is really blurry and small, so I pretty much had to make up basically my stylistic version of his character.
Yeah, you had a lot of liberty to work with, just like designing all sorts of stuff because, you know, it was just a pixel character, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I decided to make a really detailed portrait because you will never be able to know what his little character looks like if you don't have something like this.
Yeah, portraits are hard.
They are, because all the drawing is in the head.
Right.
And you have to be really good at head drawing to make it look good.
Man, how did you learn how to draw heads really well?
So we learned it in school, art school, and first it was very academic. They had us draw a skull, and then they had us break down the forms of the skull into simple shapes and planes.
Yeah.
So I understood how the forehead curves and the side of the forehead plane, and then
cheekbones,
how it all kind of flows into each other.
Right.
And how the eye sockets kind of curve in, and there's like the muzzle shape and stuff like that.
And see, that's how you're getting, like, all of that study is like how you got all this dimension in this drawing.
Yeah, but something you can't just get from drawing skulls is figuring out how forms jut out, like noses and lips and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really important too to do a lot of life drawing.
Right.
So we would do a lot of life drawing in class.
Yeah, and you did your best for him to feel like, you know, there's unders of his eye sockets and of his nose and bottom of his lip. And it really feels like he has a chin. And that's all just like practice and really drawing the skull. I remember they would make us draw the skull in a lot of positions, not just front, back, up, down. Yeah,
because the proportions of his face would actually be really different because we're kind of looking at an up angle at him. So you'll most likely be able to see underneath his chin a little bit, underneath his nose. Whereas if it's more of a down shot, that's actually an angle I like to use for girls a lot because it makes the face look smaller and cuter.
Nice.
So with him, I wanted him to look powerful.
Yeah.
So it's more of an upshot, and that changes the way you draw, and it changes what you see underneath the eye and underneath the nose and all that stuff.
Yeah, when they taught us all of that stuff, stuff about camera placement, I always thought in the beginning that, like, really? Is that a thing? And then you start to watch a lot of movies and you're like, oh yeah, when the hero comes out to save the day, the camera's, you know, tilted up a little bit. Yeah. So that's the sort of feeling that you're trying to get here.
Yeah, and it's really subtle sometimes. And it's something that I learned from life drawing. When you sit on different seats around the figure drawing model, you get a slightly different angle. And sometimes they're raised higher or lower. So it's you just have to have basically every life drawing experience possible. Right,
like let's say you're in the life drawing class and you want to learn how to draw a more dimensional head, you'd sit in front
for the drama.
You're looking up at the figure. All right, we're into color now. Now, what are you using for the color?
So I'm using FW acrylic ink.
Nice.
So we've done a lot of portrait painting in school, and I learned how to do it in watercolor and inks really pretty decently, in my opinion. And it's a completely different process than like painting with acrylic paint or oils even. And
because you have to layer it, right?
Yeah. So I'm starting with like a base tone, and then I'm going to slowly add the darker shadow shapes on top.
Right, yeah. Acrylic's interesting. You can layer on top, and that's different from, let's say, oil painting, where oil painting is sort of like mixing each and every single tone, slapping it on like a sticker.
Yeah.
And it becomes this mosaic, and people like that look, or they just smooth it out.
And hyper render it and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's really a worthwhile endeavor to try as many different kinds of painting, ways to paint, because I think it makes you a better painter.
Yeah, and it's really, really difficult to do something super smooth and realistic like you can do with oils with something like acrylic ink. But
it's going to end up more graphic.
Yeah, naturally, because it dries so fast. That's what makes it different between that and watercolor. Watercolor is very transparent and textural. Acrylic ink is something between watercolor and acrylic paint, actually. Because if you get it thick enough, it can behave like acrylic paint sometimes. So you can add different tones on top that really layer on top opaquely.
Yeah.
So yeah, different hue shifts of hair and costume and that kind of thing.
Man, and I love that, like, what is that, like a violet thing with the lime colors in the back? Looks awesome.
I really thought it was serendipitous that his avatar has a purple vest looking thing, because it works so great with green.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of complementary.
Yeah. And it really makes it pop.
Yeah. Especially since I made the green of the gem look really like a jewel and transparent and stuff like that, and it really kind of adds a bit of shine to the whole thing.
And you're really like defining the chin, adding nice like shapes to make really make it pronounced. And now you're filling in, what is that, like a chain?
It's like a chain. It's hard to see in the little avatar, so I made it up. But yeah, so now
layers.
The process of this is actually different, where I started with color instead of started with ink.
Yeah.
So this process of putting the ink on top, it's risky.
Yeah.
You have to really know what you're doing when you're painting to know that, okay, once I put the line art in here, it's gonna look good.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to layer up the painting. And now you're adding, like, I love how you're adding the outlines to these little shards too. Wow, and the sparkles.
I definitely felt that the green just never got dark enough. So I really had to add the outlines so that, in a way, the jewel looks more cartoony, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's a really cool look. And there's the signature.
And there it is.
Wow.
So shiny.
It's so sparkly. So many sparkles.
Sparkles.
Looks good, looks good. Man, I hope you enjoyed that. If you really like that, please hit like and subscribe over there, and leave a comment down below for who you think Janet should draw next.
All the materials I used in this video will be linked down below. If you buy anything, it helps the channel out at no extra cost to you.
And if you visit our store, you'll see this awesome hustle shirt. Wow, look at that, so cool.
Buy our merch.
Yeah.
If you would like to watch other drawing videos, check out these other drawing videos next. And don't forget to
Dare to dream.